And once you do the things that matter, you yourself will start to realize that you're not as desperate for love. You're not as eager for love. In fact, sometimes you may look around and think, oh my goodness, I wasted so much time trying to manufacture love, and all it brought me was heartbreak. And then when you least expect it and it happens for you, you will start to realize that you become the love you want to attract. Hey there, gorgeous, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back again. And thank you for gracing me with your presence and your energy. So for today, we will be talking about becoming the love that you seek, and really and truly leaning into loving yourself in order for you to attract the type of love that you want and that you deserve. I think we can all agree that one of the most popular topics here on YouTube is that of love. Finding love, how to act in order to get the love that you want, and how to contort yourself in order to become lovable and to be validated by the opposite sex or whoever it is that you're seeking love from. But what I have seen and I have found to be true, at least for me and the people around me, is that when you become love and the embodiment of love itself, you are more likely to attract the right type of love. Because what's the point of becoming something that's not yourself in order to attract love? Then when you get it, you're unable to maintain it because that's not who you are to begin with, right? So what is the point of faking until you make it, only to make it and you are unable to maintain it? Because nobody talks about that. You fake it until you make it, and then once you make it, you can't maintain it. What is the point? So then now we need to go back to the drawing board and really understand, how do you become the love that you seek? So when I'm talking about being the love that you seek, this really stems from the perspective of learning what it means to fully and truly love yourself unconditionally, for your imperfections, for your shortcomings, for maybe your character flaws that you have right now. How do you learn how to love that? Maybe there's something about you physically that you don't necessarily like, but how can you find a way to like it and then maybe grow to love it over time? So this is really about anchoring down the basics so that everything else that happens thereafter is built upon a very strong foundation of unconditional self-love. So I'm going to go through a list of things you can potentially do to start becoming the love that you seek. Some of these may seem and sound a little bit unconventional, but when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, all of these things do actually stack up, and they do add up to you eventually becoming the type of person that anyone who values themselves and also considers themselves lovable would also want to be with eventually. So the first one is, be the type of person that spreads love wherever you go. So if you go somewhere and you find that people are not in the most joyous of mood, be the person that lifts up the room. It doesn't mean that you need to burden yourself, but just be that type of person that walks in with optimism, with good energy, that even though you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders, you're able to regulate your emotions, so you're able to show up for your nearest and dearest without being a Debbie Downer just because of something that happened yesterday or whatever it might be. Just be the type of person that walks into a room and brings the light with them, brings the sunshine with them, brings the enjoyment with them. And by doing this, you will quickly learn just how powerful a light, bright, and loving energy can be, and also how transformative it can be to the people around you. You will start to notice that you get a ton of more invites when you're more lighter and vibrant with your presence. It doesn't mean you're faking it, but it's just learning to just show up as your most feminine and divine self. So the second thing I'd like you to look at is, how are you showing up in your relationships? Are you nurturing the relationships you currently have? Are you being empathetic? Are you lending your ear to a friend who needs to speak to somebody? Are you showing up for your friends when they're going through tough times? Are you showing up for your friends when they're celebrating? How are you nurturing your relationships right now? Because how you're nurturing them now is how you're going to nurture your future romantic relationship, if that is what you seek. And also remember, people always say, show me your friends, show me your family, and you're showing me who you are. So if your friends and family cannot attest to you being a considerate person, to being a compassionate person, to be someone who shows up and is reliable, how then do you think your future spouse is going to expect for you to be that person who you haven't been so far? So as you can see, these things eventually start to paint a picture of who you are going to be once you get into that union. So it's about being that person before you get into the union, because it will become second nature to your personality, as opposed to you trying to be something that you are not. The third thing I would like to encourage you to do is to pursue your passions, the things that light you up from inside, the thing that ignites that excitement in you and just gets your creative juices going. Whatever your passion is, I would like to encourage you to lean into it. Even if it's just dedicating an hour a week, because I know all of our lives are super hectic with family, with work commitments, with friends. There's a lot that is happening, but where you can, take a little bit of time, carve out a bit of time, and put that into your passion. Put that into your creative pursuits or whatever it might be, and just see how light you become when you're in your creative zone. Allow your creative genius to take hold of you, and don't get so bogged up in being correct and precise and by the book and follow this and follow that and do this and do that. No, allow yourself to just be creative and get into that sense of, having a bit of childlike wonder with your creative pursuits, whether you like swimming, whether you like painting, whether it's going to pottery classes, whether your thing is Pilates or whatever it might be. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, pursue it, and pursue it with a sense of purpose, because in pursuing the things you love, you may just find the things that fulfill you, so that if and when you do get into that loving and supportive relationship, you will still have your own life outside of that relationship, and you will not become consumed by the relationship. Because this is a piece that people don't talk about. When you do find the person that you love and that loves you back equally as much, it doesn't mean that you will be with each other 24/7, although there are some type of couples that are like that. However, what it does mean is that you still need to exercise a level of independence outside of that relationship. And by cultivating that level of independence for your leisurely time, for your passions outside of a relationship, before you even get into it, it allows you to have something to lean into when you are in a relationship, and you don't end up either becoming obsessed or overly consumed by the relationship that you eventually get. So as you can see, again, these are ways to make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row prior to meeting that significant other. Here is another one, and I hope that you saw this one coming, because I am huge on this channel: gratitude. I want you to learn how to have daily gratitude for everything that is in your life and everyone that is in your life, for the home that you have, for the support system that you have, for the job that you have, for the business that you have, for the friendships that you have, for the mindset that you have. Be grateful for the things that most people take for granted, and you'll start to see that the good that is in your life starts to multiply, because you are turning your vision towards the things that are going well for you, instead of dwelling on the things that are failing. So by being grateful, by showing up and taking account of all the things that are going well for you, you will end up being the type of person that looks at life as a glass half full as opposed to a glass half empty. You end up with optimism. You end up with excitement for life. You end up just yearning and wanting to know more about life and what is happening around you. So practice gratitude, and don't feel ashamed to be grateful and to be the kind of person that is openly grateful. I am that kind of person. I have a reminder on my phone twice a day to remind me to be grateful for my life. And sometimes when that message pops up, when I'm in the middle of chaos and trying to make sense of life, it reminds me to stop and be grateful for the things that are going well in my life. And you can only imagine, when you're in a partnership, things will not always go well. Things may not always go to plan. You may sometimes come into a disagreement, but when you learn how to be grateful for what brought you together and what is anchoring you together, then you're more likely to overcome the obstacles that you come across. So this is just an encouragement for you to start practicing gratitude and have a gratitude mindset from the very beginning. Number 5, it's important for you to embrace vulnerability. Really embrace it. Understand what it means to be vulnerable, what it means to be open, what it means to be authentically you, and don't be afraid to be yourself. Because when you start practicing that right now with your friends and family and your loved ones, you will find it easier to be open and authentic with the one that you love, because you want to be in a partnership where you are fully yourself and you're fully loved as yourself, as opposed to pretending again to be somebody else and being loved for that, because deep down you will always feel a void because you never showed up as yourself. So practicing vulnerability and being open and allowing yourself to relax and lean into who you are, This is honestly a superpower that once practiced and harnessed properly can yield a high return on investment in terms of the quality of life that you have. So practice vulnerability. Look up videos here on YouTube that speak about vulnerability and talk about how you can lean into vulnerability and learning the spaces where you can be vulnerable and allow yourself to grow and blossom as a result of that. And also remember that true intimacy and connection requires us to be vulnerable. And if you're not vulnerable right now, you will find it difficult to be vulnerable later on down the line when you meet the person of your dreams. And right here, I wanted to highlight that the reason why we want to work on the different aspects of just our connections with love and what we consider to be love from the very beginning is that whether you find a significant other or not, you need to be focused on living a life that is abundant. You need to be focused on living a life that is mirroring your value system for yourself. You need to be living a life that is in alignment with who you are. So when you start doing that now, before you even find the love of your life, when they come into your life, they will be adding on to the good that's already happening around you. They will be adding on to the creativity that is already around you. They will be adding on to the compassion and encouragement that is already around you, so that if and when you get somebody, for example, who looks like they should be the person or your significant other, but they don't necessarily have the tones and they don't have the feeling that you've been cultivating for yourself, it will be easier for you to decipher, as opposed to when you've never really felt safe and loved and encouraged in the life that you're leading already. Then you're more likely to be loved bombed by somebody who sees that you don't have that in your life. So when you finally meet your significant other and they turn around and they see that you have all the different aspects of love around you, you have the right people who represent love in your life, you represent love by the way you carry yourself, the language that you use, the body language that you use, right? You yourself understand how to love on yourself and how to pour into yourself. When they come in and they see that, they will only wish and hope to be a part of that and add on to it. This is only when you have gotten it right for yourself first. Most people who find love find it when they're not looking for it, when they're busy living and loving and enjoying life. They don't find it when they're desperate and seeking attention and seeking validation and seeking to just have somebody. They find it when they're busy and living and leading full lives. So this is why I want to encourage you. Be the love that you seek by doing the things that really matter. And once you do the things that matter, you yourself will start to realize that you're not as desperate for love. You're not as eager for love. In fact, sometimes you may look around and think, oh my goodness, I wasted so much time trying to manufacture love and all it brought me was heartbreak. And then when you least expect it and it happens for you, you will start to realize that it is indeed true. You are the love that you attract. Better yet, you become the love you want to attract. And when it's done authentically, it's a beautiful process and a beautiful journey to behold. Well, that has been it from me. I hope that you have taken something from this. I hope you've enjoyed what we've spoken about today and that you have taken something from this that resonates with you and that you will practice. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'll put a few more videos up here that I know you will love and will gain some wisdom from. And until next time, my gorgeous ladies, bye-bye.